Hello everyone, how are you? Russia rains missiles on Ukrainian cities as grain exports leave ports. 12 ships carrying grain have left Ukrainian ports despite Russia abandoning a UN-backed deal to guarantee exports from the war zone, suggesting Moscow has stopped short of reimposing a blockade that might have caused world hunger. I will convey to you today's important developments, and I'll look into what might be on the map. If you want the war to end, I would appreciate it if you like the video and comment. Don't hold back your support and let's show our stance. Air raid sirens blared across Ukraine and explosions rang out in Kyiv as Russia rained missiles down in renewed air attacks. Ukrainian officials said energy infrastructure was hit, knocking out power and water supplies in several areas. But the resumption of food exports from Ukrainian ports suggested that at least one dire scenario had been averted for now. International officials had feared that Moscow would reimpose a blockade on Ukrainian grain, after Russia announced on Saturday that it was withdrawing from the UN-backed program that escorts cargo ships through the Black Sea. Civilian cargo ships can never be a military target or held hostage. The food must flow, tweeted Amir Abdullah, the UN official who coordinates the program. Shortly after, Ukraine confirmed that 12 ships had set sail. The 354,500 tons of grain they carried was far more than typically leave in a single day, suggesting a backlog was being cleared after exports were interrupted on Sunday. Ukraine and Russia are both among the world's largest exporters of food. For 3 months, the UN-backed deal has guaranteed Ukrainian exports can reach markets, preventing what international officials had said could have been global famine. The news that Moscow was pulling out of the deal had sent global wheat prices soaring by more than 5% on Monday morning. Moscow said it was forced to pull out of the shipping deal after blaming Kyiv for explosions that damaged Russian Navy ships in a Crimean port on Saturday. Ukraine has neither confirmed nor denied it was behind those blasts, but says Russia's Navy is a legitimate military target. Moscow said the blasts were caused by a fleet of sea and air drones. The United States accused Russia of using food as a weapon, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Moscow was blackmailing the world with hunger. Russia denied those accusations but said that with its naval forces damaged it was no longer able to guarantee safe shipping. The ships that sailed on Monday included one hired by the UN World Food Programme to bring 40,000 tons of grain to drought-hit Africa. Even if Russia behaves hesitantly because it didn't receive the same benefits, we will continue decisively our efforts to serve humanity, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan, who helped mediate the grain deal, said in a speech. Our effort to deliver this wheat to countries facing the threat of starvation is evident. With the joint mechanism that we established in Istanbul, we contributed to the relief of a global food crisis, he said. Russia's missile strikes during the Monday morning rush hour repeated a tactic it has pursued this month of targeting Ukrainian civilian infrastructure, especially power stations. Ukraine's Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal said 18 targets, mostly energy infrastructure, were hit in missile and drone strikes on 10 Ukrainian regions. Another batch of Russian missiles hits Ukraine's critical infrastructure. Instead of fighting on the battlefield, Russia fights civilians, Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said. Don't justify these attacks by calling them a response. Russia does this because it still has the missiles and the will to kill Ukrainians. Foreign Ministry spokesman Oleg Nikolenko said the missiles had caused electricity and water outages. Russia is not interested in peace talks, nor in global food security. Putin's only goal is death and destruction, he said. Water cut off for 80% of Kyiv after Russian strikes Ukraine. The mayor of Ukraine's capital said that 80% of consumers at Kyiv were left without water supplies, due to the damage to a power facility near the city from Russian military strikes on Monday. Local authorities are working on restoring the supplies as soon as possible, Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said, telling Kyiv residents in the meantime to stock up on water from the nearest pump rooms and points of sale. A barrage of Russian strikes hit critical infrastructure facilities at Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities, knocking out power in multiple areas, disrupting water supplies and the operation of public transport. In a separate Telegram post, Mr. Klitschko added that water supplies in some areas of Kyiv will be restored in 3 to 4 hours, and power has already been restored in one of city's districts. The damaging Russian strikes on Monday morning were apparently a retaliation for what Moscow alleged was a Ukrainian attack on its Black Sea fleet over the weekend. Loud explosions were heard across the Ukrainian capital in the early morning as residents prepared to go to work. Many received text messages from the emergency services about the threat of a missile attack, and air raid sirens wailed for 3 straight hours. The attacks occurred just before the Czech Prime Minister, Petr Fiala, and many top members of his government, including the foreign, defense and interior ministers, arrived at Kyiv in the latest show of support from European leaders for Ukraine. Large areas of the capital were cut off from power and water supplies as a result, Mr. Klitschko said. Local authorities were working to restore a damaged energy facility that supplies power to 350,000 households in the capital, he said. The Ukrainian Foreign Minister, Dmytro Kuleba, said there was no justification for Russia launching missiles meant to inflict so much suffering on civilians. Don't justify these attacks by calling them a response. Russia does this because it still has the missiles and the will to kill Ukrainians, he tweeted. There was a heavy military presence north of Kyiv. Smoke was rising from the left bank of the Dnieper River, either from a missile strike or where it was shot down by Ukrainian forces. A resident of the area said he heard 4 loud explosions that rocked the area. At first I thought I heard a jet going by, but then I realized it was a missile, said Serhiy, who refused to give his full name. The explosions were so loud. I consider myself experienced and prepared for attacks like this. But it was way too close and loud. I was frightened, really frightened. In the outlying region, authorities warned people to be prepared for a long power outage because of the emergency cuts. Kyiv's regional governor, Alexei Kuleba, also said that 1 person was wounded and a number of houses were damaged as a result of the morning attack. In the eastern city of Kharkiv, 2 strikes hit critical infrastructure facilities, according to authorities, and the subway ceased operating. Officials also warned about possible power outages in the city of Zaporizhzhia resulting from the strikes there. The Lviv region in western Ukraine was also targeted, but the missiles were shot down, Lviv's governor, Maxim Kozitsky, said. Critical infrastructure objects were also hit in the Cherkasy region southeast of Kyiv, and explosions were reported in other regions of Ukraine. In the Kirovorad region of central Ukraine, the energy facility was hit, according to local authorities. At Vinnytsia, a missile that was shot down landed on civilian buildings, resulting in damage but no casualties, according to the regional governor, Serhiy Borzov. Some parts of Ukrainian railways were also cut off from power, the Ukrainian Railways reported. The attack comes 2 days after Russia accused Ukraine of a drone attack against Russia's Black Sea Fleet off the coast of the annexed Crimean Peninsula. Thank you for listening. I will keep you informed of the hottest developments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.